Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 107 of our trip around the United States. Now today, the name of the game is compression. We're going to be on the geocaching podcast here in a few days, and our original schedule would have us in the middle of nowhere when that comes up. Since it's a live call-in show, there's a big risk that we're not going to have any signal if that were to happen. So we're going to take today's route and combine it with tomorrow's route and get everything that we were going to do in both days done so that we can be one day ahead, and we'll be able to finish off in Nebraska City and be in a good place with reliable internet signal when that comes up. It's pretty easy to compress this schedule because we made these days around Omaha and Lincoln pretty short intentionally. We had to come into Omaha to get the Nebraska County Challenge, just like we have to go back into Lincoln to get the Nebraska DeLorme Challenge. Today's route is only 70 miles, and there's very few geocaches on the target list. So there's absolutely no problem with completing that, probably by the early afternoon. Tomorrow's plan called for us to take on the Oak Creek Trail all day long, which is geocaches that are along the trail between one city and the next, and it would really take us all day hiking up and down the trail. The thing is, Ai-chan's not going to hike all day. She might give me a few miles, and if we spread it out over several hours, we can get some pretty good distance. But the distance for that trail was entirely too much for her to begin with. So, instead of doing the whole thing, we're probably going to geocache a little bit on one end, a little bit on the other, get a little bit of hiking on both sides, and then call it and skip all the stuff in the middle. That will give us all of the stuff we want to do in Lincoln, everything we want to get done with the Oak Creek Trail, and we can get that all done today instead of in 2 days and put us in the right place at the right time. I think it's going to be a great day of geocaching, and the geocache targets can't be worse than yesterday, so I think we're actually going to be in for some good finds. Looking forward to it. Let's see what's coming up. Let's go. We kicked off our day at one of the most unlikely things you would expect to see in Nebraska, a lighthouse. Designed to attract visitors to a small lake and beach underneath it, the Linoma Lighthouse is named so because it's a combination of Lincoln and Omaha, midway between both cities. Also midway between both cities, you can find the Platte River Bridge. This 1,700-foot-long bridge is a short but critical route that will one day link the vast trail systems of the two most populous Nebraska cities together via the Mopac Trail. Opened in 2001 as a pedestrian path, this bridge spans back over 100 years in history. Looking back at 1890, land in both Sarpy and Cass counties was purchased, and 3 years later a 2,600-foot-long timber bridge was constructed over the river. This bridge was then used for train crossings for over 90 years until March of 1981 when the final train went across it. With a 1.5 mile round trip from parking, this former Rock Island Railroad trestle offers the chance to tread the breadth of the shallow river without having to get your feet wet. It also provides many opportunities for wildlife sightings, fishing, a nice walk, or bicycle rides surrounded by picturesque scenery.
Don't touch it. It may look cute and fuzzy, but it is sharp and pointy.
The coolest place we had a chance to visit today was the Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum. This Smithsonian affiliate is home to the largest collection of Cold War aircraft and artifacts in the U.S. With 300,000 square feet, this museum features a glass atrium, 2 aircraft display hangars, a traveling exhibit area, a children's interactive gallery, a 200-seat theater, a museum store, and an aircraft restoration gallery. And that's just a taste of what's on the inside, which we never even made it there. This place is a geocacher's playground, filled with icons of every type and lots of fun geocaches. All told, we spent close to an hour exploring the area just around the parking lot. You're definitely going to want to put this on your list of places that you want to visit. There is all kinds of fun to be had here. Not only are there all the awesome displays behind us, but there's a series of geocaches here. A traditional, a virtual, a multi, an adventure lab, a where I go, and they are all good geocaches. Oh, how cool is this? It's a keypad right on the pole. All right, we've got to enter some kind of combination. And there's a riddle here for us to solve. Now that we've solved the riddle, let's go ahead and enter the combination. And if we've got it right, oh, look at that. How cool is this? Maybe just one more geocache for good measure here. Oh my goodness.
brains.
After enjoying a delicious lunch, we made our way into Lincoln, the capital of Nebraska. This building has been described as the nation's first truly vernacular state capitol. It was the nation's first state house designed to radically depart from the prototypical form of the nation's capital and use an office tower instead. Its unique design came from architect Bertram Goodhue in 1920, who was the winner of a nationwide design competition. It houses the primary executive and judicial officers of Nebraska, as well as the Nebraska State Legislature. Amazingly, the 400-foot tower can be seen up to 20 miles away. And a tour around the exterior of the building will yield all kinds of treasures, like the stones that mark each of the counties around the state. The International Quilt Museum, home to the world's largest quilt collection. But it's Sunday, so we're just going to be satisfied looking at the outside of the building. Located on the University of Nebraska-Lincoln campus, the International Quilt Museum was founded in 1997 when native Nebraskans Artis and Robert James donated their collection of nearly 950 quilts to the university. But this was really just a starting place as we toured our way around the sprawling campus grounds. We treated ourselves to a tour of Memorial Stadium, also known as the Sea of Red. With a seating capacity over 85,000, this colossal venue has witnessed countless unforgettable sports moments since its opening way back in 1923. And many of those great Husker moments are memorialized right there on the front steps of the stadium. Walking out from those same steps, you can take a walk along the Memorial Mall right outside the Pershing and Naval Science Building. Here you will find the Veterans Tribute Monument. U.S. Army Captain John Hilgert is quoted as saying, "This is not a memorial, but rather a constant reminder of the heroes who walk among us, a tribute to the men and women from our community willing to sacrifice for something larger than themselves. And what better place for it to rest than at the heart and core of the UNL community." And each of the 20 glass panels along this walk feature quotes that are just as memorable. We immediately fell in love with the statues, artworks, and murals found all around the city. Each piece seen represents a different and important part of Nebraska's history and culture. In 1812, President James Madison signed a bill creating the Missouri Territory, including what is now the present-day state of Nebraska. Born out of the Civil War, shaped by railroads, and built by immigrants, settlers were drawn here to promises of free land and abundant rains. They endured droughts and economic depressions. They fought for political reforms, fought in World War, and sometimes even fought each other. These lands were already populated well before that, though, with Native Americans having existed here for thousands of years. As more settlers moved into the lands, conflicts with the natives increased. And it all finally came to a head in the late 1800s when most of the Cheyenne and Sioux people were forced to move to Indian territories in Oklahoma. And that's just scratching the surface on the rich history here. Having finished our geocaching targets in the city, we made our way out to the Oak Creek Trail. This former railway has been converted into a trail that extends for over 13 miles and features more than 100 geocaches along its length. We did about 2 miles round in total, enjoying many great views and many finds all along the way.
Oh, there you are, you little bugger.
Well, travelers, that wraps up another day geocaching out here in Nebraska. And what an amazing day today turned out to be. The polar opposite of yesterday, by the way. We enjoyed the short drive into Lincoln, and then once we got there, we got to see all kinds of amazing sights. We've already been to the Capitol building. As you know, it's always worth getting to revisit one of those places when we have the opportunity. So we really enjoyed getting a chance to just go around the grounds. We did a 360 around the entire Capitol building, and then we made our way up and down the streets around the Capitol area, getting to see all the statues, artwork, and different things they had going on downtown. We still finished up with enough daylight to come hit the trail that's on tomorrow's agenda. We went out, we found some geocaches, we had a good time on both ends of the trail, and unfortunately that's a wrap for our daylight. But we managed to do exactly what we were trying to do. We pushed our schedule one day ahead so that we're going to be in time for this live podcast in a place where there's actually going to be internet signal. Between here and there, we've got 3 full days on the road to completing all the remaining counties and DeLorme pages in Nebraska. That's it. 3 more days of road time. And the tough northwest section of the state is done. No more of that. So now we're actually going to be in areas where there's going to be good geocaches, hopefully, and there's actually going to still be people around. It's going to be a lot more populated than what we saw into the state, and I'm good with that. We hope you guys got to enjoy taking a tour of Lincoln with us. I know we did. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.